Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the hottest topics in Grand Peace Online, the fruit tier list. Whether you're going all out in PvP or sweating it out against those insane bosses, having the right fruit can seriously be the game changer you need. I mean, let's face it, picking the perfect fruit to counter your enemy can make or break your entire GPO experience. So, if you've been wondering which fruit is going to give you the upper hand, don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we'll be breaking down the ultimate fruit tier list to help you decide which one is worth using, from the god tier powerhouses to the ones you might want to skip. Alright, enough talk, let's get right into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video and I'm ranking fruits in Grand Peace Online. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of tier list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching!
A very small portion of the audience is subscribed to the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like these types of videos. Thanks.
The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, hollow fruit, spin fruit, heal fruit, pound fruit, and clear fruit. Alright, let's talk about some of the C tier fruits in Grand Peace Online. Now, don't get me wrong, just because these fruits are in C tier doesn't mean they're entirely worthless. They just have their quirks, and honestly, you've got to know what you're doing to make them shine. Let's kick it off with the Horo Horo no Mi, or the hollow fruit. The big downside with this fruit is that the scaling and damage are pretty weak, and the hollows you spawn? Yeah, they're slow, like really slow. If you're trying to hit someone at medium or long range, they're probably just going to dodge it. But hey, if you're good with combos, you might still pull something out of your hat with this one. Next up, we've got the Guru no Mi, the spin fruit. Now, spin is kind of interesting. It's super easy to get, and if you're into PvP, it's actually not too shabby. The moves hit decently, and you can use them to extend combos, which is always fun. But here's the catch. PvE, not the best. It's not a fruit you want to rely on when you're grinding, but for those intense PvP moments, it holds its own. Now, the Chiyu no Mi, also known as the heal fruit, this one's a bit of a mixed bag. It's one of the only fruits that can heal besides Phoenix, so if you're running around Battle Royale or trying to keep your squad alive, it's got some value. But outside of that, yeah, it's pretty rough. You're not going to be taking down anyone in a 1v1 with this fruit. It's more like your support fruit that hangs out in the background. And lastly, let's talk about two more fruits that kind of have a love-hate relationship with the player base. Kilo no Mi and Suk no Mi. Kilo is actually pretty fun, and the mobility it offers is great. But when your ultimate is on cooldown, you're kind of sitting there twiddling your thumbs. And if you miss that ultimate, yeah, you're just useless. As for Suk, the clear fruit, it's all about invisibility. It can be sneaky and fun in Battle Royale, but outside of that, it's a bit of a meme. The only damaging move it has is weak and people can counter your invisibility, which just ruins the fun. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, paw fruit, revive fruit, spring fruit, barrier fruit, love fruit, and rubber fruit. Alright, let's dive into some of the B tier fruits in Grand Peace Online and why they can still pack a punch even if they're not top tier. These fruits might not be everyone's first pick, but they've got their strengths if you know how to play them right. So, let's break them down. First up, the Nikyu no Mi, aka the paw fruit. Now, the race for the worst legendary is tight between Cage, Yami, and Paw, but Paw's still got some juice. It shines in PvP because of those low cooldowns and high damage hits, which can really make your opponent sweat. But, and there's always a but, it suffers from short range and some painfully long wind-up times on its moves. If you can master those timing issues though, you might just surprise your enemies. Then, we've got the Yomi no Mi, or revive fruit. This one's actually a sleeper hit for PvP. Why? Stuns, baby! It's all about locking your enemies down, and that revive, death defied, gives you a second chance when things go south. But outside of PvP, things get dicey. It's got super low range, so you're stuck fighting everything in melee, which isn't exactly ideal for grinding beyond the first C. So if you're a PvP fiend, Yomi's your fruit. If you're into grinding, maybe not so much. Alright, let's talk about the Bane no Mi, or spring fruit. This one's all about mobility and chaining your combos. Pretty much every move can break block, which makes it awesome for just running through opponents. The downside? Trying to land those combos on fast or flying enemies can be a real pain. You'll be chasing them down like a dog after the mailman. But once you catch them, oh man, you can lock them down and keep them in a world of hurt. Next up is the Bari no Mi, aka barrier fruit. Now, I'm gonna say it. Bari is underrated. Seriously, it's a solid fruit for both PvE and PvP, and it's the only true defensive fruit in GPO. That's right, defense. While everyone else is throwing out attacks, you can sit behind your barriers and laugh. Plus, in dungeons or team fights, this fruit can be a game changer. If you're with a squad that knows how to dish out damage, you can hold the line and let them go to town on the enemies. Then there's Mero Mero no Mi, or Love Love fruit. This fruit is all about the stuns, and it's great for setting up combos with its low cooldowns and high damage. If you land your moves, your enemy's going to be stuck in place, helplessly watching as you wail on them. The downside? No mobility, none. Zilch. So, if you miss your attacks, you're a sitting duck, just waiting to get punished. It's like all or nothing with Mero. Nail it and you're golden. Miss? You're done for. And lastly, we've got the classic Gomu Gomu no Mi, the rubber fruit. Honestly, Gomu is an absolute beast in Battle Royale. This fruit is made for land combat, and if you're good with your aim, you're gonna hit like a truck. But here's the thing, Gomu takes skill. You need to be on point with your aim, and if you're new to the game, it might be a bit tricky to get the hang of. So if you're still figuring things out, maybe stick with something a bit easier, with more AoE. There you have it, folks. B-tier fruits that can still be absolute monsters if you play your cards right. They're not top tier, but with some practice, they might just surprise you. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Op fruit, shadow fruit, gravity fruit, sand fruit, dark fruit, string fruit, and bomb fruit. Alright, let's dive into some of the A-tier fruits in Grand Peace Online. These fruits are awesome for PvP, but some are more useful than others when it comes to farming and grinding. First up, we've got the Ope Ope no Mi, also known as the Op fruit. Now, this one is kinda a mixed bag. On one hand, it's got an insanely versatile moveset, which is perfect for PvP, especially after the recent buffs. But I gotta be honest, it's pretty much useless for grinding unless you're in the Colosseum. It's like the worst mythic fruit in the game when it comes to PvE. But if you're a PvP player, OP is still a solid choice. Next on the list is the Kaj no Mi, or the Shadow fruit. This fruit's all about control and mobility. It doesn't have the biggest range or the most impressive AoE, but what it lacks there, it makes up for with some amazing crowd control. Plus, the mobility is chef's kiss. If you're someone who enjoys PvP, you'll love the sneaky plays you can pull off with Cage. And hey, if you're running dungeons, Cage is actually pretty decent for that too. Now, let's talk about one of my favorites, the Zushi no Mi, or the Gravity fruit. Zushi is so good for PvP. Seriously, Gravity Pull is one of the best combo extenders in the game. You can trap people in combos for days, and the whole kit just flows really well in battles. The best part, Zushi isn't just a PvP beast, it's also solid for PvE. The range and AoE on its skills make farming and grinding a lot smoother than with other fruits. It's that perfect balance between PvP and PvE. Speaking of balance, let's move on to the Suna no Mi, the Sand fruit. This one might not be flashy, but it's a consistent performer. It's one of the best fruits you can use to handle the factory core, and let's be real, no one likes struggling with that. Plus, Suna's skills are easy to hit, so it's beginner friendly too. In PvP, especially in Battle Royale, Suna holds its own, so if you're looking for a fruit that's versatile, Suna's a strong pick. Then we've got the Yami no Mi, the dark fruit. Yami's got a low range compared to other fruits, which, yeah, isn't ideal for grinding stuff like sea serpents or krakens. But in PvP, it's a whole different story. Yami shines with its block breakers and combo potential, making it a top tier fruit for players who love chaining together big damage. Oh, and let's not forget, it's a Logia fruit, so you get that sweet Logia bar for some extra defense. Lastly, I gotta mention Bomu no Mi, the bomb fruit. This one is crazy good for grinding. Bomu has one of the highest base damages out of all the fruits, and if you build it right, you can literally one-shot bosses with self-destruct. Yeah, you heard that right, one shot. Plus, the movement you get with this fruit is actually really solid, so it's not just about blowing things up. You can get around pretty easily too. If grinding's your main focus, Bomu is hands down one of the best fruits for the job. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Mochi fruit, Magma fruit, Flame fruit, Ice fruit, Snow fruit, Tremor fruit, and Rumble fruit. Alright, let's dive right into the S tier fruits in Grand Peace Online, starting with Mochi Mochi no Mi, the mochi fruit. Now, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about this one, and honestly, for PvE, it's not the strongest. The damage output isn't going to blow you away, and it's not great against the sea serpent or kraken. But, and this is a big but, Future Sight is a game changer for PvP. I mean, dodging attacks and keeping your opponent on their toes? Sign me up. If you're all about PvP, this could be the fruit that gives you the edge in battles. Now, moving on to Magu Magu no Mi, the magma fruit. This one, oh man, is just a beast in PvE. It's literally the go-to for farming. If you're trying to solo sea serpent or kraken, this fruit has got your back. The big AoE, the ability to walk on water, it's just too good. PvP though? Not its strong suit. You might want to keep it strictly for those PvE grind sessions because, trust me, you'll be taking down bosses left and right with this one. Next up, we've got Mera Mera no Mi, the flame fruit. Now this is where things get interesting because Mera is pretty much the best of both worlds. It's top tier for PvE with its flight, AoE, and that juicy DOT damage. Seriously, it's like a fire show every time you attack. But here's the catch for PvP. You're gonna need to pair it with a good fighting style. It's still solid, but you've got to get a little more creative when you're up against another player. So, if you like versatility, Mera might just be your fruit. Hi no Mi, the ice fruit, is next on the list, and boy does it pack a punch. This fruit is a PvP monster. Every move it has can break combos, and the stuns, insane. If you're looking to dominate in PvP, Hi is going to give you the control you need to really lock down your opponent. Plus, it's not bad for PvE either. With its range and AoE, you can still do some serious farming. A solid pick all around. Let's talk Yuki Yuki no Mi, the snow fruit. This one's like the jack of all trades. It's simple, effective, and beginner friendly, so if you're new to GPO, you're going to love it. Yuki does well in most scenarios, though it does struggle a bit against the sea serpent or kraken because of its lower range. But aside from that, it's great for PvE and PvP alike. Sometimes simplicity is all you need to succeed, and Yuki nails that. And finally, we've got Gura Gura no Mi, the tremor fruit. This fruit is a PvP powerhouse, no doubt. Each move has a block break, so you're basically a walking nightmare for your opponents. The high burst damage is also a major plus, but there's one downside: mobility. It's a little slow and doesn't scale as well as some of the others, so if you're up against fast opponents, you might struggle a bit. Still, if you're all about dishing out massive damage and keeping fights short, Gura's got your name on it. The fruits in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Dragon Fruit, Pteranodon model, Venom Fruit, Bird Fruit, Human Fruit model, Great Buddha, Glint Fruit V2, and Glint Fruit V1. Alright, let's dive right into the absolute top tier fruits in Grand Peace Online. We're talking about the S+ fruits, the ones that can single-handedly carry you through both PvP and PvE content with ease. Whether you're out here grinding dungeons or facing off in heated PvP battles, these fruits will have you dominating. Let's start with a big one, the Ryu Ryu no Mi, model, Pteranodon. This fruit is just insane. The mobility, damage, and combos, top tier. But here's the catch, you've got to be fully transformed to make the most of it. If you can stay transformed though, Pteranodon will have you flying to the top of every leaderboard. Plus, there's just something about swooping down on your opponents like a prehistoric beast that makes PvP so much more fun. Now, let's talk about Doku Doku no Mi, aka the Venom fruit. I mean, come on, DOT damage is king here. Venom is probably the strongest PvE fruit right now in GPO, hands down. It's like, oh, you're fighting a boss, let me just melt them with my ridiculous venom damage while being immune to all those annoying stuns. PvE content just becomes a walk in the park with this fruit. Some even argue it's the best fruit if you leave out the Pteranodon and Pika V2. The damage it puts out is just unreal, especially for those long, drawn-out boss fights. Next up, we have the Tori Tori no Mi model Phoenix. Ah, the good old Phoenix. If you're into dungeons or just PvE in general, this fruit is an absolute beast. Not only does it have one of the best DOTs, but the maneuverability is off the charts. You can practically zip through dungeons, heal up mid-fight, and still have insane combos to dish out in PvP. Tori users, you know what I'm talking about. This fruit can easily be in the conversation for the best overall fruit in GPO right now. It's versatile, fast, and can dish out some serious damage. Alright, buckle up because now we're talking about Hito Hito no Mi model Daibutsu, the Great Buddha fruit. Buddha mains, I see you. This fruit is a PvE solo carry machine. It's just a tank with huge AoE damage, making it perfect for handling mobs and bosses. But it doesn't stop there. Buddha is a PvP nightmare for your enemies too, thanks to its combos, stuns, and combo breaks. Plus, with its insane survivability, you're basically a walking fortress. You might move slower than the others, but you're basically unkillable in a lot of situations. Let's not forget the Pika no Mi, both V1 and V2 versions of the Glint fruit. We'll start with V2, which is just OP honestly. You get the fastest flight move in the game, and it even gives you a fruit M1 to boot. The quick attacks and range are great, but the only issue is that some attacks are blockable. So if you're facing off against a skilled player in PvP, they're going to capitalize on that. But even then, Pika V2 is a powerhouse, and you can't argue with its speed. And finally, Pika V1, don't sleep on this one. It might not be as flashy as V2 in PvP, but for PvE, this fruit is an absolute monster. You've got that light ray attack, and guess what? You can spam it, over and over again. Bosses don't stand a chance when you're dropping uninterrupted damage on them from a distance. It's not as great for PvP, but in PvE, it's a reliable go-to for getting through tough fights. There you have it, the top of the top in Grand Peace Online. If you've got any of these fruits, you're set to dominate both the PvE and PvP worlds. So, what's your favorite? The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.